Welcome once again, everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It is December 13th, 2019, Friday the 13th. For those of you who get spooked by that, well, all I can say is we'll try to get through this together, at least for the next 10 or 12 minutes, and after that, I can't help you. I don't know what to say. You just have to maybe watch old episodes of Cannabis News, maybe go read articles at marijuanatimes.org. I don't know. There's many ways you can occupy your time. Today, talking about the inevitability of federal legalization. Also, we'll talk about medical marijuana in Florida and marijuana law reform, or the lack thereof in the case of New Hampshire. All that is coming up. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides grow safe and poison-free with Natureside. Don't use harmful chemicals or banned pesticides. Be regulatory compliant in the state that you are growing, and all of these amazing things are possible with, you guessed it, Natureside, nature-side.com. Proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, Natureside. And this first story by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org. You can find many, many things, a lot of great articles, this show, social media links, and more. marijuanatimes.org. It's federal legalization inevitable in the U.S. Now, I point out, first of all, the problem with the word inevitable. It creates a lot of problems. It makes people think that something is just going to come no matter what they do about it, no matter what actions they take. And the problem is, something that seems inevitable, it's going to take a lot of hard work, and even that hard work won't guarantee inevitability. We've had a lot of momentum, of course, since 2012. When it comes to changing laws in the United States, we've had momentum. When it comes to medical marijuana for 2 decades, we've had the momentum when it comes to the changing public opinion polls for decades as well, but that won't last forever. And federal legalization right now is imperative, and we're still looking at 2021 before we get our first real shot to see what that might look like, and might have an attempt at that. A lot's going to have to happen next November. A lot has to happen. I mean, it's just a long road, but now is the time. And thinking something is inevitable leads to lethargy. It just, you stop, even if you don't realize it, you stop pushing as hard as you should be. Because like, oh, well, I don't have to share this story or go to this march or, forward this email or whatever it is. Whatever part you play in this huge activism thing we have going on, either it's online or, in the streets, quote unquote, as they say. However you do it, keep doing it. That's what makes it inevitable, if anything does. Nothing's inevitable. I mean, things could change a lot in a short space of time. But if it is inevitable, it's because people are going to keep moving at the pace that they are, and maybe even a little more. This is it. This is it. Did I say this is it? I did. It's the next story. So you can check that out. All stories I talk about are linked in the description of the video in which they are discussed. Of course, as I said, you can find all kinds of stories, including many stories by me at marijuanatimes.org. This next story comes from foxbusiness.com. Medical marijuana law considered by Florida Supreme Court. A lot of issues surrounding medical marijuana in Florida. We've tackled and talked about and discussed many of them here on the show. And one of those problems and one of those issues has been the legal battles and the continuous legal battles, it seems, for the last few years in Florida. Now, Florida Supreme Court is considering an appeals court decision that would increase access to licenses for medical marijuana dispensaries in the state. The decision would eliminate conservative requirements that force dispensaries to also own the means of production. In other words, if you're an entity in Florida, you have to grow it and sell it, and it has to be the same company. A 2017 law requires medical marijuana dispensers to own the means to grow and process cannabis sold to patients with prescriptions. The law was meant to curtail smuggling of marijuana to other states where it remains illegal, limit illicit sales to children, and prevent marijuana operators from using the legal sale of medical marijuana as a pretext for other illegal activities. Some fear that the new law has also stymied investment after a green rush of speculators put cash into Florida's cannabis industry. According to the news service of Florida, investors don't want to spend the money for a license and the tens of millions it could cost to purchase land and processing facilities to sell cannabis. In other words, a lot of them just want to own a dispensary or just own a grow house, and there want to be more of them. Not a grow house, a grow operation. They're not growing in the house. These are big professional factory type environments. It's not some dude's house on the block, as the kids say. The appeal found that the states, that the Supreme Court may take up, found the state's vertical integration system, which limits marijuana licenses to only those who grow, process, and sell cannabis themselves, is a violation of a 2016 constitutional amendment backing legal medical marijuana. Those who oppose the law, the 2017 law, say it gives the state more control over deciding which operators can buy licenses and fosters anti-competitive practices within Florida's marijuana industry, which could result in fewer Floridians applying for marijuana operation licenses. In other words, we're doing a free up to allow for more dispensaries overall, and that's always a good thing. I mean, just I can't say it enough. More investment, more shops, more operators, more of everything. More marijuana. That's a good slogan. More marijuana. There you go. This last story is from NHPR.org in New Hampshire. Marijuana legalization loses steam at the New Hampshire State House. Adverse to loosen New Hampshire's marijuana laws appear to be losing momentum. As separate Senate committees took action this week against bills that would make marijuana more accessible. New Hampshire decriminalized up to 3/4 of an ounce of marijuana in 2017, but if the Senate committee votes stand, full legalization will be off the table in 2020, so allowing doctors to prescribe medical marijuana for quote-unquote any condition. The legalization proposal, which already cleared the House, will allow anyone over 21 to buy marijuana. Their sales would have been taxed at 9%. But by unanimous vote this week, the Senate Judiciary Committee voted to send the proposal to an interim study, which would effectively kill it. Governor Chris Sununu, who signed the decriminalization into law, said he'd veto any bill to legalize marijuana. We've talked about New Hampshire before. Kevin Sabet has invested some time up there, smart approaches to marijuana, with the Governor Sununu and trying to fight marijuana legalization. New Hampshire's an odd state. They're very independent, free-thinking state. The Free State Project is up there. There's a lot of libertarians that move there for the express purpose of moving the societal needle or whatever on these issues. And as far as New Hampshire goes, in marijuana legalization, it does not seem like it's going to happen in the current political environment, which is not a surprise. And if you live in New Hampshire, well, time has come to do something about that. Get on the ball, as they say. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show today. Cannabis News. We're here 5 days a week. MarijuanaTimes.org. You can find us on YouTube as well. Search the Marijuana Times, also Apple Podcasts for the audio version. Thank you to NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening today and spreading the truth about cannabis with this show. We'll see you next time, right here on Cannabis News.